Top Line Group of Cebu marks a major milestone with the soft opening of Bay Mall, a flagship mall development project of its subsidiary Viking Land, last week. Strategically located at the heart of the municipality of Liloan in northern Cebu, Bay Mall is actually a product of a successful public-private partnership with Liloan's local government under a build, operate, and transfer modality. Constructed on municipal-owned land, the Top Line Group will operate Bay Mall under a concession period of up to 50 years. Joining us now for more on this exciting development, Top Line President and CEO Eric Lim. Hi, Eric. Good to see you. Welcome back to Market Edge.
Yeah, hi, Mimi. How are you? It's been a while.
It's been a while. Congratulations on the good news. I want to start with Bay Mall. Of course, you are known widely as a fuel retailer and an energy player, but you also, I remember in one of our conversations, you also trace your roots to property and real estate development. So this isn't your first rodeo, but I guess the question is, what makes this Bay Mall special?
Well, actually, especially in our previous discussion or interviews, for us, we're actually the third generation in the family. So the first two generations were into mall development, real estate. And for us in Top Line, we're the third generation. And we just want to make sure that aside from the fuel business, we have different kinds of subsidiaries in the mix. So let's say, for example, we have the mall, we have the port. We're also into tech. We're automating certain ports in the Visayas island. So right now, we're focusing on real estate, especially in building the different malls throughout Central Visayas.
All right.
This is the Bay Mall.
All right. So is this the first in the portfolio for a PPP project in the Visayas? I mean, how does your pipeline and your portfolio look like with the malls? And what sort of contribution to the Top Line do you see this real estate malls business making?
Actually, it's a unique proposition, especially for the Top Line Group, because for us, when we expand again for the fuel business, we're also into retail, such as the Light Fuels brand, which is expanding in the retail front. But if you really think about the services that's what we're offering to our clients or to our customers, we just want to make sure that all of the services are there, such as commercial units. So there's commercial there's shopping. So for us, it's not really something new for us when we expand, especially into malls, because we've already expanded before. And we just want to get that expertise in to the fuel segment, which is light fuels.
All right. But in the meantime, for the mall business, how many more are in the pipeline? How many more are you looking to build?
We're looking at, a few, probably in the next few years. We're just checking different sites right now, just to make sure that it's within our range. In fact, if you look at Bay Mall, when we check on different sites, let's say, for example, Bay Mall is located on the northern part of Cebu, which is in Liloan. So if you look at the structure and the design for Bay Mall, we wanted to see what's something new for that area, which is basically there's no BPO yet. No, there's no BPO spaces in Liloan, which is the northern part of Cebu. And if you look at the workers going to Cebu or Metro Cebu, there are actually a lot of workers coming from the northern part of Cebu. So right now, when we conceptualized Bay Mall, we said, how about we construct a full service mall in terms of supermarket, dining, entertainment, and at the same time, BPO spaces, just to make sure that there's also additional workspace in the northern part of Liloan. And it's also nice, Mimi, because that's why it's called Bay Mall. Because it's near the bay. And if you go to the rooftop, we have a very, very scenic view of the mountain and the sea. So basically, we're also excited with our architects to make sure that we're adding more, possibly some sky bars or some food halls in the rooftop of the mall.
Wow.
To take advantage of the view.
But I imagine exciting indeed. When you mentioned a view of the mountain and the sea, sounds like very good feng shui. You know what they say, you have the mountain behind you and the sea in front.
Exactly.
Sounds great. But just before we move on to your main line of business, which is fuel, the mall business, how much do you see it eventually contributing to the top line?
Well, if you look at the group, I guess since if you look at, let's say, for example, our tech business, and then we have the port business. For the mall business, it's not really that big of a chunk as of now, but we do see a lot of potential moving forward for the malls, especially if you look at the demographic in Central Visayas. So we're looking at different sites that has potential for growth in that area. So we're looking at an uptick for the group.
All right. Let's now go to your main line of business, the fuel business. We saw a major oil price shock following the eruption of the Israel-Iran war. It has since eased, of course. What is your visibility?
Well, again, it's always important to understand that volatility of oil prices is always there. Given the circumstance that the Philippines is a net importing country, we import our clothes, everything more or less, about 90% of goods. So if there are different geopolitical risks involved in the near future or the long-term scenarios, it could really greatly affect oil prices. But what's just very, very good right now is the ceasefire that we're experiencing, brokered by the U.S. So that's actually quite important, because we were seeing a decrease of hopefully about 1 or 2 pesos in diesel prices for this week, compared to last week, an increase of 5 pesos. So that's actually very good.
I imagine, Eric, that these short-term knee-jerk events, you really can't react quickly enough, because they happen today, the shock happens immediately, and maybe after a few days they're gone, and you have contracts that you've worked on for months now. If you could just give us and our viewers a sense of how long your timelines are. How are you able to prepare? Are you looking at 6 months? Do you hedge, if at all?
It's actually important to also check, Mimi, that it's not always a straight line when we in any kind of business, not only into fuel. So what we're doing is we're just making sure that quarterly or every 6 months, we're making sure that the contracts are in place. And for us, since we have ample supply, so we can basically make sure that we have reliability of fuel to our clients. That's number one. Because number two, prices is always there. It's just a matter of, would you want to bite the price right now if it's quite expensive, or are you going to roll with the punches? So it really depends on the client. But for us, we just want to make sure that we have reliability of supply, especially in our long-term contracts.
All right. Of course, Eric, it's been a big year for you guys. Why don't you? I'm very curious. How has been the post-IPO journey so far? You're really one of those names that braved market volatility, and clearly the market has rewarded you. I think we have a price chart of your stock price. From a 31 centavo IPO price. You've actually spiked 35% to today's numbers. So why don't you share with us how your post-IPO journey has been?
Well, you know what, Mimi, we're just very happy. We were very fortunate with the support of our customers, our investors, and shareholders. Because just to go back to the day before we listed, because we listed on April 8th, So the day before, it was the time when President Trump basically unleashed the tariff wars with everyone, and most of our friends and everyone else were asking us, are we still going to push through with the listing? And then we said, of course we are. We're already here. And we're just going to make sure that our commitment to our investors are there, to our shareholders. And again, we're fortunate that moving forward, the investors were able to see what top line is basically looking at, which is a long-term growth strategy, which is the expansion. In fact, if you look at our use of proceeds, we just did a revision for the use of proceeds, which is basically more geared towards expansion, because we see a lot of opportunities for expansion for light fuels and top line for the CFT market.
So why don't you flesh out the expansion plans for us? What's your number today? Where do you see yourself in the next 6-12 months?
You know what? We did say in our IPO prospectus that we're looking at about 20 stations in the next 1 to 2 years. We did say that. But we're hopeful that we can accelerate even more for our expansion plans. But again, everything is still fluid, especially with the team, because we want to make sure that once we expand, the system and the processes has to be there. So we're grateful that the expansion program is in place.
All right. And for your investors who are watching us, what is the most exciting thing for the remainder of 2025? So
again, it's basically looking at top line and what's top line's value proposition to our investors. Because at the end of the day, fuel is fuel. So for us, we just want to elevate that level of service. That's what we're doing. In fact, just recently, we're doing some initiatives, some new ideas in the mix, especially in terms of service in our stations, which is going to be rolled out pretty soon in the next few weeks or months. So I hope we can invite you, Mimi, to experience our new kind of service in the station, which is quite unique, something new.
Looking forward to that. I'm pretty sure your investors are also looking forward to earnings. Could you give us some guidance? What sort of growth are you looking at for the full year 2025?
Well, we're still hoping that we can still replicate or even surpass our previous growth on 2024. In fact, if you compare our numbers, our Q1 2024 compared to Q1 2025, we just reached about 1 billion in revenue. That's about 36%. And in terms of volume in liters, we just added about 46%. And if you look at our net income after tax, now this is basically from 27.5 million to about 30 plus million. So that's around a 38% increase of net income compared from Q1 2024 and Q1 2025. So we're very, very bullish for 2025, actually.
I was going to say, you sound very bullish considering the volatile oil market that we're seeing. Is there anything that keeps you up at night? Anything that makes you fundamentally worried?
You know what? If we're into business, we're always worried every night. But if you have a great team, you'd be happy because you know that everything is in place, and especially the system and the processes. So again, we're very, very fortunate that our team is there. And in fact, again, when we did our listing for last April 8th, we have a lot of opportunities along the way, and we're still learning even until now, post IPO. And again, the opportunities are there, but we just want to make sure that our systems are in place for that expansion and growth.
All right. Speaking of opportunities, are you looking at M&As on the table? Seriously?
Yeah, most likely. We are open to that. It's also part of our strategy moving forward. Again, that's still in our IPO prospectus. So M&A is there. There's also conversion. So everything is possible. So
how many M&A deals are seriously being considered?
I could say a lot and a few.
A lot and a few. All right.
Yeah.
We're going to have to leave it at that. Eric, thank you so much for joining us, and congratulations again. Please do join us for the next time when you have exciting news, all right?
Yeah, thank you, Mimi, and take care, and hope to see you soon.
All right.